I was flipping houses on the side, doing one house a year, wanted to do 12. I remember my mentor saying, you got to hire somebody. And I was like, no way. I'm never going to hire anyone. I'm so uncomfortable. No. And he's like, all right, well, you have no time right now and you're doing one house. I have no idea how you think you're going to do 12 and have more time. It just doesn't work that way. And I was like, you're the guy with the systems. Give me the systems. I'll do it with these systems. And he's like, hiring people are the system. Like the people are the system. Like that's the system. And he had like 10 people, 12 people working for him. And I was like, I'm paying this guy $25,000 a year. I should probably listen to what he says. And he told me what to do and I did it. Was able to scale a massive business. We didn't do 12 the first year. We did 67 in about 8 months. That 67 was with like 3 people. It was me and 3 other people. And then the next year I did 135. That was with like 6 of us. Then we did 187 the next year and like 200 deals a year after that. Now I hire people to do like everything for me.
Welcome to the Alchemist Nation podcast. We are a community of business and real estate professionals who are on a shared mission to help every individual achieve financial freedom through right action, the right knowledge, and the right accountability. Join me, Andrew McMurray, and my co-host Mitch Jaworski as we find and interview those who have mastered wealth and who have a desire to share their wisdom with you. Enjoy.
Welcome to another episode of the Alchemist Nation podcast. I am your host, Mitch Jaworski. I am here with my co-host, Andrew McMurray, and we have an awesome guest for you today who not only crushes it in the flipping game, but has some pretty interesting stories about what he's done in life. And we'll see how much we dig into it, but I'm going to poke away so we can get some good stories. Andrew, how you doing, man? Tell us about our guest today.
Mitch, I'm doing incredible. Thank you for asking. So our guest today is Bill Allen. Bill Allen is an incredibly powerful speaker, entrepreneur, real estate professional. With his business, 7-Figure Flipping, he closes over 200 deals every single year. And on top of that, he also runs one of the nation's top mentoring groups for real estate professionals. So I'm excited that Bill is in any way involved with this community. I love it. His journey began as a naval officer with 18 years of service, and now he's fully dedicated to helping others find their path to success through primarily networking and accountability. So Bill actually also spoke at our summit last year. He gave one of my favorite presentations on the hero's journey, right? The process of death and rebirth, which really is, the alchemical process. So it was incredibly pertinent to Alchemist Nation. So Bill, I'm excited to have you on. I'm excited to hear you speak in a couple of weeks. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm excited to be there too, and happy to be here. I always like talking about myself from time to time. So if you guys ask questions, really the reason is like I love it when people listen to something that I do. Even if there's one person out there that needs to hear it, they hear it, they change their life, they change their path, make more money, have more purpose. It's really powerful. That's like why I continue to do what I do. So hopefully this does that for one or two people that listen.
Cool. Yeah. And I mean, there was a lot of good feedback at last year's summit after your presentation. And I think part of that was, you mentioned the word journey, and it's just like that hero's journey, I think, resonated with a lot of people. So, I mean, honestly, if we could, I'd like to actually touch on that. Can you kind of just, you don't have to get into all the details, but just give people the gist of what the hero's journey really is.
Yeah, if you look at like any character, if you look at movies, like I love movies. So if you look at any movie, there's a character in there that's the hero, right? They're classified as the hero. They have some sort of guide usually along that with them, but they have some like outer goal, some like actual tangible goal that you can hit or not hit, and that's the thing that it appears to be driving them. But when we're watching the movie, like we can all see that under the surface there's something else that's pulling them. So like some like something from their past, some sort of wound that's creating this like identity struggle that they have. And there's this inner journey that's happening inside the character that creates the character arc throughout the movie. So any movie, like you can literally break down any single movie that you want, and you can see that there's the hero inside of there has some sort of inner journey character arc that at the end, it's usually solved or not solved. And so a good movie has like a great conclusion at the end where the hero a lot of times will figure out what their inner journey is. It will come to light. They'll have to kill off their old identity to become the person that can and has the ability to achieve that outer goal that they had. So if the outer goal is like to make a lot of money. So most people listening to this make a lot of money, usually the outer goal, there's something inside of you that keeps you going. Once you made a lot of money, you just keep going and going. There's something inside of you that you're searching for. And so a lot even in movies, a lot of times you become the person that can achieve the goal. It doesn't even matter. That outer goal never matters. It's all about the inner journey and the inner struggle that you have going on inside of you. And those movies are real life. So, if you're listening to this, you've got something going on inside of you that's typically spawned from a wound, which is like an unhealed source of continuing pain. And this thing is creating an identity around who you naturally are. And sometimes we have to like break down that identity. So the fear and the struggle inside of you is because you're trying to be who you naturally are, like who God made you to be, but you have all this like limit that you put on yourself, or these things that are holding back inside of you. So what you really need to do is kind of chip away at that identity and armor to step into who you're really called and made to be. And then you can achieve all of those things that you want to achieve. So if you look at, any story, it's really like that. And you're the hero of this movie. You're the hero of the journey. And if you can step out into that like essence and who God made you to be, you can be insanely powerful. Like we would probably all agree that we don't tap into anything close to what our potential really is. And it's a lot of times because we want to fit in, we want other people to like us, we want all these other things. And so at some point, like the why of what you're doing, the goal that you're trying to achieve becomes so big that you don't care about that stuff anymore. And that's really the kind of process you have to go through to achieve like really big things. It's just to strip off all that armor. So that's it in a nutshell, like the Cliff Notes version. And we're all going through something. The interesting part is like nobody really wears it on their chest or on their sleeve or any of those things, but everybody's going through something. Everybody's got some wounds, got some pain, got some things that are holding them back. And the more we can open up and be vulnerable and work through that, the faster we're going to be to achieve those goals that we set for ourselves.
You talk about that armor, and I'm just thinking about, so many things can be that quote unquote that armor. And, obviously one of them is just limiting beliefs that people have, that they've developed over their life, due to whatever it is, experiences, childhood, you name it. And that's part of that, becoming that different person, because it's like you're literally changing the operating model, so to speak, becoming that different person.
Yeah, if you really think about like all the things that happen your entire life, you got your upbringing, you got your culture, you got your religion, you got your parents, did you have money or not have money as a kid, like all the things that you tried, all the areas that you failed, like all of these things that have happened in your life that are just stack and stack and stack, and you build up armor. The cool thing about that armor is it protects you, but the bad thing is it holds you back from all the things that you could possibly become. So it protects you from the pain and the fear and things like that. And then we step into something new, like to really strip that off and really to like kind of break that down. That's the hard part. Like that's the real work that happens. And that's why you need that mentor. That's why you need that guide. That's why you need that mirror that a lot of people talk about in the hero's journey to say, that's not you. Like, why are you saying that? Why are you doing that? That's not you. You're better than that. You have the potential. You can do this. And we need that to kind of push us through as we break these things down. And all these trials and tribulations that we go through are just meant and designed to break down and chip off that armor so that we can kind of step into who we are. And then the interesting thing that happens is kind of a cycle. So you come out of that, you have success, and then you go into a whole nother cycle. Like then it's the next thing, and it's a constant cycle. That's what's so cool about life is we're constantly like reinventing ourselves, and we're constantly growing and developing over time. So,
and it's interesting. It is a cycle. So, and the more times you go through the cycle, so for me personally, I was recently like reviewing your speech, watching your speech again from last year when I was making the landing page for the summit, and I really, for the first time within just this past year, noticed my own loop, like noticed the own hero's journey going on within my life. And so I can imagine now, because I'm more consciously aware of that loop, of that process, like as I continue to go through that cycle, like it becomes more and more of a conscious cycle, right? You become more aware of the process you're going through. So, and one thing I remember you mentioned from the speech last year was not avoiding fear, but facing it and moving through it, right? So is there ever like an end to that cycle? Is there supposed to be an end, or is the process of evolution going into deeper and deeper fears? Like to what extent, like when do you remove the armor? Like how does the experience shift? Do you no longer cycle through the hero's journey?
well, let's say you kill off this old identity, right? And you step into the essence, like who God made you to be, who you truly are. And then you become the person that you need to become for this outer journey, for this goal that you set for yourself, right? And then you come out, you win it, you reach the goal, you have inner feeling of like this greatness that you have. So they talk about supernatural world, like you're in the supernatural world, in this place where, like, when you go to an event, it's a total example of a supernatural world. Like the ordinary world is people saying you can't do this, there's no way, like, what are you doing? What are you going to go to that event for? That's stupid. Like, don't go there. Don't drink the Kool-Aid. They're going to sell you something, all this stuff, right? You go into the supernatural world, everybody's supportive of you. It's incredible. And so what happens at the end of this is you reach this goal, right? And they say you return with the elixir, you come back with the secret, and you come back to the ordinary world and share what you found in the supernatural world. And then what happens is, like, now you have a new goal. You have a new outer goal usually, like, because it never ends. Like, people that are into personal development, people that are into growth, like, the reason why there's like there's probably like 8 or 10 Star Wars now, right? The reason why we have this continuing to cycle and happen is because they come back and there's this new goal. There's this new thing that happens inside of us, and we want to continue to grow and develop. And so the next step is, okay, I have this new goal, and I did that, but I can't do this. Like, I made $1 million, but I can't make 5. I, helped 100 people, but I can't help 1,000. And so you have this new goal. And now there's these new identity pieces that are placed on your heart again, that you have to kind of strip down. And so, no, I don't think it ever ends. Like, once you kill off somebody new, you're creating a new identity effectively. And that new identity is going to have holdbacks, limitations, and other wounds that are going to start developing, and things are going to happen. I think in a perfect world, like in Adam and Eve in the garden, this is probably like, everything's good. Like, we probably don't have this. This is in God's image, but we're all like, imperfect. We're all like have the weight of other things that are going on. We all have these limiting beliefs, these wounds, these struggles, this stuff from our past that's holding us back. And I mean, just take money. Take money as an example. Like, there's people that have never had money that get some money and they're like, they just lose it. Like, they literally, their thermostat is set to a point where they're just like, and they're honestly like, I don't deserve to have money. Like, I don't deserve to have a lot. There's all these kind of things that go on in your head. So no, to answer your question in short, I don't think this ever is going to change until you, like, physically die. Like, I think when we physically die, there is a point where, okay, this journey is over. And I think that this is probably our outer journey too. And then you go on to a totally other inner journey. So, but like beliefs, culture, all this stuff is going to come into play. Everybody around you, the people you surround yourself with. This is why people are constantly like up leveling their network too, is like, hey, where can I go next? Who's going to support me? Where's my supernatural world? I made 5 million. Now I want to make 10. I made 10. I want to make 20. Made 20. Want to make 50. And it's not all about the money, but all the impact that comes along with it and everything else that's happening. You want to surround yourself with those people that are going to constantly, support you and develop you. So I don't think this ever ends, in short. No. And when it does, you're probably just like, there's some other journey you're going on. And that's typically the journey of fulfillment, like the art of fulfillment, like Tony Robbins talks about. You're really going into more of a fulfillment journey where, like, I mean, literally my cycle with my farm, I have a farm here in Tennessee that makes me no money. It costs me money, but I employ all these kids, and families come, and it's really fun and exciting. And it's great for my kids to run around there. Like, that was a whole journey of fulfillment for me. That was a whole new, like, I don't know if I can do this, like something that was interesting and exciting for me. And I want to build something. And so totally outside of making money, totally outside of, marketing and sales, and really just go back to the earth, eat good food, and build a whole nother network and community that people, when I went in there, people are like, who's this guy? Like, this is a money-making guy. He's a real estate guy. Like, what is he doing in a farming world? And I just built a community around, wanting to do the things that I wanted to do. It's a different cycle of my life. And so this Friday, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to butcher 1,000 or 100 chickens this Friday with a bunch of people. And I'm going to be there, not making money, just butchering chickens all day. And it's really fulfilling for me. It's really interesting for me to do something different, to actually like know where my food comes from and have to do all that process myself, as opposed to going to the grocery store and buying it. So a whole nother story, but that's a whole nother hero's journey that I went through, and a whole nother identity. I've killed everything I've ever planted my entire life, including a cactus. And now we have 3.5 acres of produce. I had to find a guide. I had to find a coach. This person is taking me through a whole nother journey and lots of struggles that I have all the time. And so we keep kind of reinventing ourselves over time. And if not, I think that's why people die early. I think that's why people don't keep going. They just kind of like give up.
Yeah, when they have no purpose. So, and I found it amusing because yes, I've also killed a cactus as well. Like every time my mom visits, she gives me a plant. It lasts a few months, maybe. I'm like, I don't know why you keep giving me plants. I was just like, we know what's gonna happen. So, but that's
Yep.
awesome, and
I'm
that's
right there
cool
with
because
you.
like you're going true it's like you got all these farm to table restaurants now, or whatever, but it's not the same. Like you're literally going true farm to table yourself. So that's pretty cool. And like you said, it gives you fulfillment. And yeah, you're right. Like you need some kind of purpose, otherwise you kind of just die off. It's kind of like the
Yep.
classic line from Shawshank: "Get busy living or get busy dying." And I think that's why you see a lot of
Yep.
people that work, and you don't see as much now, but in our parents' generation, our grandparents' generation, where they'd work, for a company for 50 years, their whole life, they'd retire, and then it's just like a lot of times, a few years later, they're gone. It's like because they lost their identity, they lost their purpose, and I think as entrepreneurs, we're a little bit maybe a different machine because like I feel like every few years we're like shedding the skin and growing a new one, and it's like a new venture, new endeavor, new pursuit, whatever it is, and that's what kind of keeps us driven.
Yeah, that's the challenge for entrepreneurs, is staying focused long enough to make a deeper impact in everything that you want to do. Usually most people's cycle is like 2 to 3 years.
Yeah,
So it is challenging, I agree. But yeah, I wouldn't have it any other way. I love that.
that's cool. That's cool. So it might be helpful to the listeners to hear maybe a little bit about like just like a personal example. So obviously you built like seven figure flipping, and from day one of that, obviously you went through a hero's journey. I'm sure there's plenty of things that roadblocks you ran into, or whether it was physical, mental, whatever. What was that like, or was there any like specific moments that you really like remember and look back on and just like that was a pivotal change or a pivotal moment or experience?
Yeah, for sure. I'll actually take you through two. So the first was I was flying airplanes and helicopters full time for the military. So I was an active duty military pilot when I started my real estate business called Blackjack Real Estate. And I remember like I was doing like a house a year on the side. It was like a side hustle for me. I wanted to make it something real. I wanted to figure out how to do 12 deals a year, make like 30K a deal, make an extra 350K on the side from my $100,000 military job. I thought I wanted to retire as a military officer. I thought I'd be a commanding officer one day and just keep going. And this was like 12 years into my military career. So I was flipping houses on the side, doing one house a year, wanted to do 12. I remember my mentor saying, all right, well, in order to do that, you got to hire somebody. And I was like, no way. I'm never going to hire anyone. I don't want to put food on the table. I don't want to be responsible for anybody else. I don't know how to do that. I'm so uncomfortable. No, 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 no. And he's like, all right, well, you have no time right now and you're doing one house. I have no idea how you think you're going to do 12 and have more time. It just doesn't work that way. And I was like, you're the guy with the systems. You got all these systems. You say you got systems. Give me the systems. I'll do it with these systems. And he's like, hiring people are the systems. Like the people are the system. Like that's the system. And he had like 10 people, 12 people working for him. And I was just like, oh no. And I went off that call. And he's like, okay, well, you're paying me to coach you. So you can take my advice or not. And so just go think about it. And I went and I was like, I'm paying this guy $25,000 a year. I should probably listen to what he says. After talking to my dad, he gave me some advice. And then I came back and I said, all right, I'm ready to listen. What should I do? And he told me what to do and I did it. And it wasn't easy, but I kind of had to break through all of these, I mean, I was a leader already in the military, but I didn't have, like, it was all money. I was all worried about having to take care of these people and pay them the money. Like, I just didn't know how that worked. And so it was a huge learning lesson for me, and just learning curve and just jumping in there and doing it. And from then on, I just kind of got to work and started doing it. Was able to scale a massive business. We didn't do 12 the first year. We did 67 in about 8 months. And then the next year I did 135. That 67 was with like 3 people. It was me and 3 other people
Oh,
at
wow.
the end of the year. And then we did 135 the next year. That was with like 6 of us. And then we did 187 the next year and like 200 deals a year after that. Now I hire people to do like everything for me. And so it was a huge transition and like journey I had to go through of really me saying, no, I'm scared. I don't understand this. It's new. No. And then I became a coach for Seven Figure Flipping. So Seven Figure Flipping was the mastermind company that I was a member of then. And then I became a coach. I became the COO. I eventually bought it a couple of years later. So I've owned the company for about a little over 4 years, I think now, almost 5 years now. And when I bought the company, I was the guy behind the scenes. I was the COO. I was the guy who was running the numbers. I was the guy who was managing the staff. I was doing the hiring. I was not on stage selling stuff. I wasn't the guy who did the event. Wasn't the guy who ran the podcast. I wasn't the speaker. I was like, I would speak one time and I would talk about very tactical engineering, nerdy stuff. Didn't have a lot of personality. I was just like, I didn't know marketing. I didn't know sales. I didn't know persuasion. I didn't know any of that stuff. And because the owner, Justin, he did all the marketing. He was in the marketing masterminds. He did all that stuff. I did everything else. I was behind the scenes. I was like the best number 2 guy in the world, is what I used to say. And so when I bought that company, I realized, oh crap. Like, I remember when I bought it, I tried to give my friend the podcast. I was like, you have a podcast. Can you just do this one and yours? Just don't, I don't want to do it. I don't want to be on a podcast. I don't want to be running that. I don't know anything about it. You just do it. And he's like, oh yeah, heck yeah. It's bigger than mine. I'll do it. And then I realized, like, what am I doing? Like, I have to do this. Like, I have to learn this. I have to learn to speak from stage. I have 3 months to do my big event that makes, millions of dollars for us for the whole year. And so I realized I had to get coaching. So I got a speaking coach. I got got a coach for the events. I just went out and found all the people that are amazing at this. And I said, can you coach me? I've got the best public speaker I've ever seen in my entire life. And I said, will you coach me? He did 3 Zoom calls with me for $10,000. And three hours, 10 grand. I was like, holy crap. I was like, okay, I'll do it. And I had to just jump in it and realize that I have to do this. It's not like I should, I must. If I want to get to the next level, if I want to build the company, if I want to hit all of my goals, I have to become somebody that I'm not. And like Andrew said, once you go through this cycle a couple times and you realize that you're going through it, it becomes easier and easier and easier over time. And you go faster and faster and faster. So those are 2 examples. So now I think of myself as a speaker. I have to make a ton of videos. I've been running the podcast for 4 years, like 800 episodes or something. Like all of these things. I've been able to interview some insane people on the show, like Gino Wickman, Jocko Willink, like some incredible people that I've had the opportunity to interview. And it's been really cool to have that show, to be able to open doors and bring people into our world. So what I'll say is, like, if you're like right there, it's like, what is the thing that you're not willing to do? And that's the thing that you must do. Like that, for me, that's what it was. Like
100%.
I look back and now I look back and I had to hire people in order to grow. I had to get over my fear of like speaking and selling and persuasion and marketing and all that stuff. Because to persuade somebody, the way I look at it is there's like convincing people and persuading people. And convincing people is like me getting you to do something you don't want to do. But persuasion is me getting you to something that you've already decided to do. And so I'm like, really, I need to push you to the edge and let you jump. But you've already decided to do it. I just need to show you that you can. And so that's the way I look at like convincing.
That's a great way to look at it.
Selling. Yeah.
That's such a good perspective.
Because I hate convincing people. Like, I'm not going to convince you to do something. Like, you've already decided to do this. Let's just go do it together. Like, I'm the best place for you. I'm the best coach for you. I'm the best person. And like, if you believe that, then you can really serve the people. And I mean, you guys have an amazing community. You believe that. So when people come up, they're like, I've already decided to join this community. Now it's about timing. Everybody wants to wait. And so I had to learn how to do that without feeling like I was a pushy used car salesman. But when you believe that your product is the best on the planet, and you believe that you can help the people that are coming to you, it's about serving them. You're serving them at a very high level, because opportunity cost is the most expensive thing in our life. Waiting a year is going to cost you $1 million. Like, why would you pay $1 million to wait a year? Like, pay $15,000 now.
Yep.
Like, what do you wait a year? It's going to cost you $1 million to wait, because you don't know how to do that thing. You don't know how to make $1 million. Every year you don't know how to make $1 million. It costs you $1 million.
Yep.
So what are you waiting for? All these people want to wait. There's never a right time. There's never a right time. It wasn't the right time for me to hire those people. It wasn't the right time for me to learn marketing and sales. And that was me going through the inner journey of like having to break it down. Now on the backside of it, it's like, oh, I get it. Like, but you have to go through some of those trials and tribulations. There was pain involved in all of that. There was
100%.
firing, there was quitting, there was all the things I didn't know about, but now I know about it. And I know it's not that bad. It's not as bad as I thought.
Yeah. At the end of the day, it's like, yeah, I didn't die. I'm still here, and I'm even, better for it. There's a
what's interesting? Stuff. I did die. I have died many, many times.
Oh yeah. Well, this is
my
true.
identity has had to die. Like, my identity has to die. So all of these people that you see in the movies, like, they're actually physically dying, or like their identity's dying. And that's like the climax of the movie, is when all this stuff dies. So if you really want to see big results on the end, you have to die. Like something inside of you has to die. Like all of your thoughts and beliefs and all this crap that's holding you back has to die. So you have to go kill that off, and you have to have help. Like somebody has to help you kill that off, because you can't do it on your own. It's too powerful inside of you.
100%. No, you're right. And it's like, and you talked about the persuasion thing, and I love that perspective. And I always say, I'm like, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't shove its head in the lake. And that's kind of what it is. It's like, I can lead you to where you want to go, but you still have to make the jump. You still have to take the action, and that's the thing about even education. It's like, you can get all the education and coaching you want, but if you don't take action, like you said, it's that time thing. Time's not right. Yeah. But I think it might have been Alex Hormozy, who I heard say it. If you're waiting for the right opportunity, it's already passed.
For sure.
And because there's no perfect time.
I'm really diving into this like take action thing lately. Is like why, like, the really successful people are like action takers. And so most of us coaches and consultants and things like that, we're telling people to take action. So it's like, take more action, take massive action, take insane action, take tons of action, like all this stuff, but it doesn't help. So just like, tell somebody to do something. And so like where my focus is right now on my programs specifically is what is the science of action? And so I broke this down over the last 6 months. I've built something, and I need to share it with Walter. Actually, it's really cool, and I think you guys could use it. But like inside of that, it's like, how do we get somebody to take action who's not typically just jumping into the fire, like we talked about, like Andrew mentioned, like I just need to like jump, right? Just go run into action. So like last year, he talked about me saying just run into fear, and people are like, oh yeah, that sounds awesome, but I'm not doing that. Like, that's scary. And so now the question is like, what's the science behind, like, how does the brain work? And so it's probably something I'm going to bring to the event this year for you guys, I think, because like we make 20,000 decisions in our brain like every day, and 95 of those are on autopilot. It's like the computer program that's inside of our brain. So whatever like program you're running, those 95% are just happening. And the 5% are like the difficult, challenging decisions that we're making. The ones that take time, the ones that you really have to think about, and the ones that are kind of scary. So like you can probably like drive your car, like women that are listening right now can drive their car, put on makeup and text on their phone at the exact same time right now. But the first time they ever drove the car, they were like, which foot do I use? Like, where do I look? All this, there's no way they're putting on makeup or even touching a phone. And so that was like the 5% like new thing. And then we are constantly like putting that into our 95%. And so what's the science behind how we get people to take action instead of just telling them? And what I think is it's got to be a safe environment for them. We got to figure out how to put them through a process where they can learn this stuff in an environment that's not like overly scary or risky. And so if we can do that, if we can create a space for them where they can actually like go through some of this and learn it in a low risk situation or no risk situation, then they're more likely to go out to the high risk or high fear situation instead of just telling them we're going to show them. And so it really, some things that I think people need to think about is everybody's just shouting like, take action, take action. But that model is broken. Like it really is broken for like most people, like the high risk entrepreneurs, those kind of people that, have a specific personality profile, they're going to do well. The people who are typical, like I'm going from a W-2 job to become an entrepreneur, they just don't know how to do that. Like they're very risk averse. They're very much like, I'll just sit here and learn, and they get stuck in the learning cycle. So I think there's something that needs to change in our industry to break them from that. And it really is like a lot of the stuff that we did in the military, the stuff we did in flight school, stuff that I learned that we're kind of bringing to the equation now, which is very much like, how can we reduce the risk of them from feeling like they need to go out there to a risky place where they're going to lose money or lose status or lose something, to what if we could do it in here, like tabletop exercises and stuff like that. So just to teach them and expand their box. I think I'll bring that. I think there's some things that I can really teach the audience that you guys have there in a couple weeks on this concept, because if they can bring it back for them and for other people that they support, like some of their clients and some of those people, we can de-risk situations. Because really, we only make decisions when the benefit outweighs the risk. That's it. Yep. It's the only time we make risk decisions. The benefit has to outweigh the cost. And if the benefit can massively outweigh the cost, then we're going to say yes. If you see like 50-50 or 40% outcome, 60% risk, you're not going to do anything. You're going to go back to learning. And so there's something that's missing in the equation for us when you say like take action, it's it's like a trigger term for me right now. Like I've been saying this for like 8 years, and I'm like, why do I take action and nobody else does? And I think it's the programming. I think it's my military training. I think it's everything that's inside of me that
I
was
think that makes a
already
ton of sense.
pre-programmed in there.
I think that makes a ton of sense. I think that your military training has a big piece of that. And something at least I've personally noticed, and it's just well, and I love the title of the book from Jocko, "Discipline is Freedom," and it resonated with me because I am the complete opposite of routine. Like I am the anti-routine machine. Like every single one of my days look different, and I know it is a net negative, so to speak. I know I could have much more success, but I guess I don't know. Whatever. I enjoy it the way I grew up. I didn't have structure, and you're on the polar opposite end. Like you live, eat, and breathe structure. At least from what I know and what I can tell about you. But that is a super successful tool. And most people I know that are very, very successful are very structured and are just routine machines. And that goes back to the systems thing.
I think there's some of that. I also think when I look back, I've been like, I study this. I'm just a numbers guy, total engineer, like data nerd. So I just looked at like zeros and ones. Just like zeros and ones. It's like this person's successful, this person isn't in the program. And then it's like, okay, let's stack them up and let's see why. What do we think? And like, I don't know. I've had routines in the past. I have some of that. Like what I think is I can make decisions faster than any other human being on the planet or up there. And so the challenge is I don't get stuck in indecision ever. And what I've learned is once you learn the right questions to ask and how to decide, then you just go right or wrong. I don't care if I'm right or wrong. I'm making a decision and it's giving me a new input. And I'm iterating that over and over and over again. There's you've probably heard Malcolm Gladwell. It's like 10,000 hour rule. You've heard this rule, right? You want to master something, 10,000 hours. There's this guy, Naval Ravikant. He said recently, so I read this quote and I thought it was brilliant. It said, it's not 10,000 hours, it's 10,000 iterations. And I love this way better because really what it is not 10,000 hours. It's not doing the wrong thing 10,000 hours. It's about finding the right thing over 10,000 iterations and then doing it over and over again. And so Russell Brunson also says like practice doesn't make perfect. It's perfect practice makes perfect. So if you do the wrong thing over and over again, it's not perfect.
Yeah.
Like, so perfect practice makes perfect. And so if that's the case, we got to go find perfect practice. And to find perfect practice, we have to find imperfect practice. Unless we're just perfect from the beginning, which none of us really are. So it's always about just iterating and redefining this. And so there's a military tool. There's a military tool that I'm going to bring to the event. So if somebody's listening to this, you have to come to the event. You got to come to the event.
Yes.
And I'll share this military tool with you guys that I think will solve a lot of people's problem in the audience of this, like, of being okay with taking imperfect action, because it'll show them the outcome that you can get from even like bad inputs. So the thing is, it's about making a decision and actually doing something with it. So you have to decide yes or no. It doesn't matter. Waffling on the fence and going back to the starting place is not a decision. That's indecision. That is procrastination. It's no progress. And so even if you're wrong, it's like hypothesize, test, and pivot. You take those three. You think that you come up with an outcome. You test it, and then you make an adjustment. And yes, like good or bad, like this worked or didn't work, it doesn't matter. So like right now, right before this talk, me and my COO were going through our marketing plan post our big event. And I was like, I think the direction that we're going right now is wrong. And here's why. Here's what I think the outcome's going to be. So like, here's my predicted outcome here. And I think we should go this way. And right after this, we're having a call as a team, marketing team, and our sales director is going to come on. And I'm going to present what I think. I'm going to listen to them. And I'm going to let them do whatever they want to do, but I'm going to give them a new input. And I'm going to say, hey, here's my hypothesis of what I think is going to happen. We're going to do all this work for a very small outcome, or we can do little work for the same outcome, potentially more. And so I all of that to say, I think if you understand how to make a decision and you can decide faster than the person next to you or faster than the person that's in a competitive market with you, you will win, even if your decision is wrong. As long as you can iterate that over and over and over again, because that other person is still sitting there wondering what to do. And yep. I don't think it's like routine and all this stuff. I think it's that. Like, I think that's the secret to people's success. So then the next question is, how did they get that? Like, how did they input that into their brain? And I believe it's like previous training, upbringing, some of those things, but it can be trained into people right now. It doesn't matter if you're 50 or 60 years old. You can be trained how to decide.
I love to hear that, because honestly, I need that training. the efficiency of decision making has been something that I've constantly worked on. I'm totally looking forward to that piece of this year's presentation, which everyone just got a nice little preview, so to speak, and a lot of topics you're going to cover at the 2023 100 Millionaire Summit that is coming up first weekend in November. If you are not coming, well, you need to get there so you can not only hear Bill, but all the awesome guest speakers that we have that are just going to be dropping useful knowledge. And I look forward to it, man. It was good last year. It's going to be another good one this year. So glad you could join us, Bill. This has been awesome. We could obviously go on for hours without a problem, but want to respect your time. And we look forward to seeing you in a couple of weeks. How can everyone get in touch with you? Get involved in seven-figure flipping if they want to. Like, what's the best way? All the socials, all the things.
Yeah, well, the first thing that you should do is come to the 100 Millionaire Summit and see me there. I'll be there. I'll hang out. I'll answer questions, whatever. So do that. I have a podcast called Seven Figure Flipping. You can check that out. That's a great place to start. It's totally free. And then I'm building some like Instagram channel and YouTube channel, TikTok, all that stuff. So most of it is at Bill Allen REI. So at Bill Allen REI. But the YouTube channel is kind of fun. I have an airplane. I put like 8 GoPros in there and I'm interviewing like high level entrepreneurs in the plane. And we do like vlogs and cool airplane stuff. And then same thing kind of on the Instagram channel. So those are probably the best places.
Cool. All right. Well, get to the summit so you can meet Bill in person. And then after that, you can interact with him on the socials, out on the interwebs.
That's right. Yeah. And if you're ever in Spring Hill, Tennessee, you can just come to my farm. It's called Hidden Gem Farm. I'm usually there on Fridays. We have a farmer's market every Saturday. And that's where I got somebody flying from Phoenix, Arizona this weekend on Thursday. She's going to come hang out with me on the farm, her and her daughter. We're going to talk real estate life, all that stuff for the whole day. I'm just there getting dirty. You got to work though. If you're going to do that.
Oh yeah.
I don't do coffee. I don't do lunch. I don't do any of that stuff. You got to come to the farm, put on your boots and get to work.
Get your hands dirty.
Talk all day.
Yep. That's awesome. That's awesome. Cool. Thanks again, Bill, for joining us. This was an insightful and entertaining episode, and I think the audience is really going to like it.
Awesome. Thanks for having me, guys. Have fun.